Graduating from high school is a rite of passage. To most teenagers, it's a milestone to higher learning. For many others, however, high school is an oppressive and intimidating place, and they drop out. The lucky ones, however, find alternatives, like the Gordon Bell Senior Off-Campus program. Brock Brown, a teacher at the school, is not surprised that so many youth need to enroll, especially students at risk who cannot keep up or conform to the conventional school model.
So you're going to be looking up at me. Awesome.
Most students at risk come from inner-city poverty. Some are also marginalized because of anxiety disorders or depression. And these personal challenges become barriers in the heavy bureaucracy of the education system.
I'm happy.
For these students, finishing high school and marking their graduation with a picture is special, since this milestone was not always in the cards for them.
Can I see it?
Yes.
First Nations youth are especially vulnerable in the school system. Valencia had to come all the way from God's Lake Narrows First Nation to finish high school, because school in her small community ends at grade 9. When she went to high school in town, she was lonely, and she dropped out. Her mother had to convince her to finish. Being away from home in Winnipeg is also hard.
It's different here. I remember you talked to me about, at the start of the year, what you were kind of struggling a little bit here,
Yeah.
right? And what were you feeling?
Lonely.
So you had loneliness when you got here, and it made you think,
That I wanted to go back, but there's nothing back there for me.
like, what made you decide to stay?
So I could change my life.
Changing the lives of these students is what the off-campus program is doing, by providing the support and the flexibility they need, something the mainstream system doesn't offer.
If you think about it, you have a 5-period school day, and every period is a different discipline. That's not how human beings like to learn. We don't like to have a bell go in an hour and then go to a completely different discipline and not tie them in. They don't flow together for the day, and the school system just hopes that kids miraculously do it on their own. For a lot of kids, they get through it. Does it work for them is a different question, right? So I think any kid who learns how to be a little bit more obedient and compliant, they get through school. But a lot of our kids who are more at risk, they're not compliant and obedient. They'll tell you to go stick it. They will, or they'll just stop coming.
Like Kirsten, who stopped going to school when her parents kicked her out of the house when she was 13 years old. She became angry and depressed for many years.
It was really confusing as to why my parents weren't like everyone else's parents. I see kids who complain about their mom and dad, yet they're still living at home. Their parents are paying their rent, they're buying their food, buying them clothes, stuff like that. They're supporting them, and for the past couple of years, I haven't had that.
Difficulties for Joshua started when his father died suddenly, just before Christmas when he was 12. The racism in his extended family did not help.
When you were struggling, what were those struggles?
Just pretty much not going to school and hanging out with bad crowds and, being peer pressured into things that, shouldn't be done and stuff. And I was good in school. I was maybe not the top of my class, but I was a prize student, and after that, I just gave up. And then I never really had an opportunity to collect the pieces and try again.
An opportunity to collect the pieces of their lives and try high school again is what this program provides. It offers them a safe place where they can learn and be themselves.
You'd be amazed what they tell you about their lives, and they start to trust you and start to open up, and you learn about them, you learn about what's going on for them. And I think in the end that builds a certain trust with them. So I think those relationships also allow you to try to hang on to them a little bit longer, even though they're struggling with the school part. Mm-hmm. If they start to trust you and feel you're not out to get them or something, maybe they'll hang on a little bit longer.
Building those relationships and that trust means investing in these students as individuals. It also means allowing them to manage their own time, as long as they get the required number of credits.
Did you have to go to work today?
No, I have to take my mom to the doctor.
This flexibility served Jonathan very well. It allowed him to balance the complexity of caring for his disabled mother, who lives in poverty, and working on a construction site. Dyslexia was just one more challenge.
What was school like with dyslexia?
Tough. It was really tough because most teachers just thought I was lying through high school. And I got a doctor's note and they said it was fake. And it was just really hard to get through high school at my other schools that I attended. But
For Tiffany, going to school is also a juggling act, as a single mother with 2 small boys. High school felt too big and too loud for her, so she gave up. But the idea of graduating became a possibility again when she found the off-campus program. So she does what she can to make the school day work.
It's been hard because my son is out of daycare, so I need to find a babysitter for him every single day. And then people keep on saying like, well, yeah, I'll start babysitting every day, and then like their plans change, and then like so I can't be here every day. I'm just like.
To Brock, these youth are like canaries in a coal mine, sounding the alarm on a system that is failing so many of them.
These kids are the products of history, products of social forces out there, and I'm here trying to make sure that those social forces don't destroy the experiences of those kids. And I find it frustrating because, you do have human beings you're trying to educate, you care about them, but you have to fight for them against big systems, and it makes it difficult.
He and his colleagues do what they can to shield these students from the social forces that brought them here, by making them see the importance of graduating, helping them to show up, and renegotiating the curriculum if need be. But there is only so much they can do. Every day they are called upon to make tough choices. It is a messy process.
You do have to be a very patient person. It's very hard, especially if you've known them for a long time and you really care about them. It's very hard to, tell them this isn't working. But if you don't do that, then your program becomes a drop-in center. You want them to like it here, but you want them also to push themselves academically.
While many students clearly need alternative schools, society is turning away from them. Programs like this are increasingly becoming easy targets for funding cuts. Every year, the teachers struggle to make sure the program remains intact. They are also forced to compete with the mainstream system for small amounts that make such a high impact in the inner city where the need is greatest.
We're at a stage now where we are reinforcing the worst behaviors in people by not investing in them when they're young and giving them no hope. So I want somebody watching this film to say, if you just keep cutting things to the bone, you're going to have issues out in the world. It's going to flow towards prison systems, mental health facilities. You live in some neighborhoods in downtown Winnipeg, your choices are different. And the kids aren't aware that this choice leads to this and leads to this at the time. They're young. And I think that's what I want, is people to see the kids that come through here are not thugs, not monsters, not people we should just throw into the sewer system. These are kids that, in the past they've been marginalized, but we want to give them good choices to make here.
This program is also providing real choices to these teenagers, as well as needed opportunities for a better future. It also gives them hope. For Jonathan, it means he can now dream of becoming an underwater welder.
without the program, I wouldn't graduate at all. You guys understood everything that I was going through and gave me the opportunities and the chances to keep coming back. And without that, I probably would be at adult ed paying for school or something and continually failing because I wouldn't understand. And you guys are pretty good for that, because when I didn't understand something, I could just go up and ask you guys.
Valencia can now follow her dream of becoming a clothing designer.
If you can imagine yourself 10 years from now, 15 years from now, what do you see?
Having my own style of clothing and lines and making profit from it. Especially having God's because you could sell nice clothes for quite a bit of money there.
So you imagine yourself back at God's Lake Narrows?
Back and forth. Yeah. Still got family there.
Tiffany is now looking forward to enrolling at Red River College in the healthcare aid program, though her real dream is to one day become a nurse.
Well, it's a 4-year course and it's very expensive.
So costs would be something? Yeah.
Very much so.
So money is something that kind of is a barrier?
Yeah. Well, do I look like a millionaire? Because I'm not.
I think we need to have programs that show that we actually care and love each other. And that shows through your funding, shows in policies. It doesn't show by words. You know, so that's what I'd want people to kind of say, you know what, these are important programs. Nobody's talking to the kids who are here. Nobody is saying to them, what is it that you need? It's important that we hear the voices of young people so we don't stereotype them and don't allow people out there just to make them this nothing, where a cut, you know, is savings, efficiency.
This program made all the difference to Joshua. Now, he can imagine a better future for himself.
I pretty much realized that to change where my life is gonna turn up, I gotta change how I'm living now, you know? And I think the Gordon Bell off-campus program was very helpful. And my mom, she lives in a not that good of a neighborhood where I live too, and I would like to, if I'm, you know, living successfully, I would like to put her in like a nice place up in Wellington Crescent or whatever, you know, and just give back to my friends and family who were there for me when I was struggling.
Kirsten also envisions a future of giving back by using her life experience to help others.
I thought, school's nothing. School's not important. I don't need my education. I don't need anything like that. I can survive on my own out of pure street skills and stuff like that. Now I think of it, you know, school is important. My grade 12 is important. I've discussed going to college and furthering my education, and I believe that it has helped a lot with the way I see my future. I feel that because of what I've gone through, if 20 years down the road I need a young girl or a young boy like me whose school's not important, but I can live on streetwise and blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what, 20 years ago I was in the same boat. I know what you're feeling now.
Some of these kids, you know, they just keep coming and you only have them for a short period of time. So I think that's really the hardest part, when you care about people and you realize you're limited in your power to help them.
All right, guys.
I've got to try to ensure that the kids who are experiencing that come out of here with a little bit more confidence, feeling that they can go somewhere, imagine a world where they can make a difference in it, not feel completely marginalized.
Well, there you go.
You just turn, this is off. Hey, look, I don't know how to work it. Turn it this way, turn it on that comes on. No, I should write off. Yeah, before I get in trouble. Going that way? You saw Alan? You didn't see inside yet, just go inside.